This is the Monroe Martin Podcast.
So I had my heart broken for the first time.
Oh shit! It's usually that drop. We're fucked up on this show, as you can tell so far. We see ghosts. My dog's a weirdo, yo. All she does is just climb on top of the couch and just start licking the top of my head, or anyone's head. She just likes black product. Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Monroe Martin Podcast. I got a very talented dude here. I gotta say talented dude, because I can't say comedian, because this show isn't just about comics. Like, I try to get talented people of all genres, yo. And I got Matt Wilson. He is a photographer, right? You're the still photographer.
Yes.
I gotta get it right. All right, I want to make sure I get it right. He's a still photographer for Inside Amy Schumer.
Yeah.
That damn Michael Che.
Yeah.
Season 1 and 2.
Correct.
What's the Michael Che's last special?
Shame the Devil.
Shame the Devil. And The Daily Show.
Yes.
And my shit in the future.
That too. Yes. So, yes. When it goes through.
No,
so,
but you got a lot of.
This is legal. This is now legally binding.
Yeah.
That's the first. That's the first future. The first future show.
Yep. Look, I don't mind. Wait. Oh shit! I didn't even have my mic on. I gotta put my mic on. I'm fucking up already. But yes, people. Matt Wilson. This is Matt Wilson. He is a very talented photographer of comedians and people in the industry and just everything. Like, didn't you take a goddamn fashion ad or something like that? Didn't you post something that like you did like a high fashion shoot?
Yeah, I've done everything and in between, from magazines to like I did something for like Fortune magazine, which is a money magazine. Like I've been all over the place as far as like photography is gone.
Now, what's out of those? What's your favorite? So you've done everything, and now you're in comedy. So what's your favorite? You shot old rich people, and now you're shooting funny people.
My favorite thing to do is still go to like Union Square Park and people watch and do street photography in that one. Yeah. Making the things that we see every day, the mundaneness of life, see, and like things that we just normally pass by, taking pictures of that, I always love.
Yeah, you were snapping pictures when we went to Philly. I took you to Philly for the first time, right? This is your first time in Philly?
It was my first time in, Yes, it was my first time in Philly. Like, to me, going as like a kid on like a field trip when you're 8 years old to see the Liberty Bell, that doesn't count.
Yeah. Yeah, so, that don't count. So I took you to Philly for your first time, and you were snapping pictures immediately. Because you seen the culture immediately. Like, you see how quick things go from nice to, like, it looked like a bomb went off.
Right. And I felt like it was a very, very real experience, because I feel like no matter where you go and you ask somebody, like, oh, hey, where should I go? It's always things that, like, they would never go to. It's like, oh, the World War II Museum. It's here. It's like, okay, I guess. And it's like, do you go there? Oh, no, I would never go there. So, like, I felt like you took me to places that you've been and that you would go. So that's the thing I loved about it.
Yeah, I took you to 1 pounder steaks, and I have to say that's the best cheesesteak. There's two great cheesesteak places in Philly, and it's not Pat's and Gino's. It is D'Alessandro's and 1 pounder steaks. And both of them are in the hoodest of hoods. Well, D'Alessandro is in like the white hood, so it's different. Like,
now, was it always a white hood, or has it now been gentrified to a white hood?
No, it's always a white hood.
Okay.
Like, Philly, I don't think Philly really gets a lot of gentrification. Like, we do, but some places just, people don't touch it. They're just like, yo, that's going to be that. Right? Like, you see, like, I took you to areas that I lived in and they still look like that. Like where we got the cheesesteak? Come on, dog. You think anyone's coming around there? You think a Starbucks is opening up soon? A micro Target? Hell no.
But so I like that because it's preserved where it's like, because you would hate to have been hyping me up about like 1 pounder steak and it's like yeah and you go back and it's like, oh, this is not how I remembered it. Yeah. I feel like there's certain parts of showing people like, no, this is the real, wherever you are, whether it's New York, whether it's Philly, like, no, this is the real version of it.
Yeah.
No, I got it.
Yeah. You were snapping pictures immediately. So people who don't live in Philly, there's a place called 1 Pounder Steaks, and it's in Kensington and Allegheny. Kensington and Allegheny is also known as Zombieland. It has a bunch of heroin addicts and whatever else they be smoking on, and they are friendly. A lot of people, I'm glad you understood it, because I told you, right? I was like, it's not dangerous, it's just scary. It's scary because you see these drug addicts walking around like looking like the Babadook, like they body all twisted up and shit.
Right.
But they're not going to hurt you. They just want to fix. So they're just going to keep it moving. They're on their way to more drugs. They ain't going to fuck with you.
Well, I think that's two different types of danger that I think people aren't able to discern, because like you said, they were just drug addicts who weren't drug addicts who I felt like, oh, they're going to try to rob me to get a fix. No, they were just trying to like, I'm leaving you alone. If you're not selling me drugs, then I have no use for you. Versus the hood, where like there's street dudes with guns, and it's like, yo, you're not from around here. What you doing around here? Yeah, that's too completely.
Hold on, I can hear you. I can hear like a truck revving up in the back.
It wasn't even a truck. It's one of those New York cars that they put some shit on their muffler that sounds
So you got
crazy.
noise reduction option on your end? It should be like a clicker.
I have that turned on.
And do you have noise reduction turned on too?
I don't see noise reduction. I just see the echo cancellation. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna close my window. So
okay. Yeah, so no, that was like Fast 6 right there.
So I live on a corner where there's also a bus stop. So like I just hear so many things that just stop past my house, so that like people have to stop, and then they always want to just rev up and go. So that's the sounds of my neighborhood.
Yeah, a lot of Asians in your neighborhood. Because that's the racing.
So there's so many different types of like racing, because like you have like the Asian racing, which is like the streetcar, fast one type. But then you also have like the Caribbean, like the Guyanese.
Oh, I didn't know.
Yeah. You may see it more so like where there is like a bigger Caribbean population of like maybe like Richmond Hill, that part of Queens, but like there's different aspects of it. And that's not one of those things to sound like inherently like racist or stereotypical, but like if you live in New York, you know what areas certain types of people live in, and what like part of the tapestry of what that is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. No, it didn't sound racist to me. I understand that. There's nuance.
Yeah. Well,
you know
I'm just.
Yeah.
I realize that I'm speaking in a public, which is going to be a public space, and so.
Oh yeah. You don't want to come off like Matt racist. It's like, no, you're not. Please don't call Matt racist. Please don't get Matt canceled. Blame it on me. If they say you say something, just go, he said it, and then we'll do like a deep fake of me saying it.
But isn't that the interesting thing about like, this is a wild tangent, but just like cancel culture and where it is, where like somewhere down the line, someone's be like, in 2023, you said on this podcast this thing. Yep. And you know, they'll soundbite it, or maybe we're just saying that like we're gonna be much more famous than we are, and. You know.
No, I hope so. Look, speak it into existence. But I'm already prepared. I'm like, look, I don't care. Like, you know how much shit was said to me as a kid? Or how much shit is said to me as a person? And I'm like, I just let it go. And I assume they'll do the same thing. It's like, all right, he said something stupid, let it go. Eventually, you can't cancel that. Eventually, you'll run out of entertainment. Like, it's already, numbers have proven that clean shit doesn't sell as much as they want it to. Like, provocative sell, right? So, cancel culture is just going to lead to another cable network. You just going to cancel all these niggas, and then a cable network or a streamer going to come along and hire all of us, all the niggas you cancel, it's and charge it double.
Well, we talked about that in Philly when we just saw like the drug addicts just like, you know, pushing carts, and we just talked about how sometimes people think the world is a little bit more progressive than
it actually is.
Than it actually
is.
And it's not to say that those people weren't progressive, but like I think this idea of what the world that we're living in sometimes is looked with this kind of like internet rose-colored lenses. Yeah, I wasn't aware of how much the internet really shapes people's perspective on life and views. A lot of people aren't going to go anywhere. So all they have is the internet, right? And we were taught that it's called the World Wide Web, and that you're getting everything everywhere, and what you're seeing is true in fact, but you're just seeing someone's perspective. Until you see it for yourself, you see someone's perspective, but if you never want to leave where you go, you just accept their perspective, and then you just accept it, and then you just kind of, that's now your perspective. Which is why sometimes I wonder if certain people are racist versus they just haven't had that lived experience. If somebody's lived and the only idea of like black people they've ever had is through media, and it's been through rap or the Housewives or something that kind of is a caricature of black people, I can't always fault them for thinking that's what.
No, I totally agree. Like I try to make sure I don't throw the word racist around when I hear some shit that comes off ignorant or that just hits your ears differently, and you go, and then you just kind of go, well, what was the intent? Let me ask a little bit more. And you're exactly right. But we're like that too as black people, right?
We are.
Like when I met like you grew up in New York. I'm gonna bring up Asians again. You grew up in New York and Queens, so Queens is very Asian dominated.
Yeah.
From Indian Asians to Chinese, Japanese Asians, all that shit, right? But you grew up with that.
Yeah.
Philly isn't like that. So you see India, when you see those other cultures, you see them through TV first. And then when you meet them in person, like I'm being honest, I think when I first met like an Asian person at a deli or something, I did this like a little goofy kid. Like you bow to them. Because you see it on TV, that every time on TV an Asian is present, someone goes, shum shum shum, or some goofy shit.
or like even through like the forms that we're in, which is entertainment, the way martial arts was presented to us throughout the 80s, 90s. Like, of course every Asian person's supposed to know karate or whatever or whatever the case is.
I still assume they do. You let go of that stereotype? I still assume they do. Especially the ones that look unassuming, like the ones that are like skinny with the baggy clothes. I'm like, oh, they know something. The big jack ones, I'm like, you don't know nothing.
Which is wild because like I was just thinking yesterday, I just saw that like Mark Zuckerberg won medals in
yes, in jiu-jitsu. Right. Yes, I was just thinking of
And I thought about it. I've never seen anybody Asian do jiu-jitsu. Like anybody that I've known personally or like seen do, it's always like some IT guy who just took it up in his 20s and like that's the person. So it's like where are all the Asians doing the thing that we thought Asians right?
Yeah, I'm cool with an Asian comic and actor. His name is Tommy Kang. And he is a professional martial artist, and he like teaches and all that stuff. And he invited me to a class, predominantly black. It's just niggas. It's just black kids, Hispanic kids, and like a couple of whites. The Asians are like, it comes naturally. Like either it comes naturally, or they learn it in the home, or they just don't know it for real, and they're just coasting off the stereotype.
But then, I don't know if I'm having this epiphany now, because even think about like MMA. When I watch like UFC, that's supposed to be mixed martial arts.
Nothing but blacks, Hispanics, and white people.
Or some dude from like Kazakhstan or some place like that. Like where are the Asians in mixed martial arts?
I don't know. They running companies now. They don't got time. They don't got time to be doing splits and takedowns.
Yeah. Wow. There should be a deep dive.
That's
where
crazy.
are the Asians? Where are the Asians in martial arts?
But I seen the same Mark Zuckerberg thing, and how'd you feel about it? I felt that it said he won a medal, and I'm like, but did the person let him win because they didn't want to be the person to choke out Mark Zuckerberg? Because that's not cool.
So I initially thought about that too. That was my initial thought, and then I saw the guy that he posted that he was like fighting against.
The black dude. I mean, not the black dude. The brown dude with the black shirt on. He was muscular though.
Yeah, but see, this is the same thing. See, so part of my journey with photography, I worked in IT for nearly 20 years. Yeah. So I started out at a law firm, but then I went into the .com. So I used to work at WebMD, and I used to work at LinkedIn. So once I got into that kind of like Silicon Valley aspect of it, I realized that a lot of the guys who were like software engineers were either white guys, Asian guys, or brown guys who make a lot of money because there's money to be made there, but then they always have these like goofy interests like jujitsu. And so when I was looking at the guy that Mark Zuckerberg was fighting, I was like, was this literally just like a tournament for like IT professionals? Yeah. and if that's the case, it was just like looking at two guys in tech support fighting. So that's what I gathered from it.
We're gonna watch that video on the back half.
Okay.
I really want to see the match. I think there's footage of the match because I seen just the grappling.
Okay, but then what? See, what I want to know is what was the criteria to even qualify for this meet tournament?
Did they know Mark Zuckerberg was showing up? Like that's what you want to know?
Or even like what level did you have to be at?
Yeah.
And like was everybody at the same level?
Yeah. I get that. I think it was more of an IT thing now.
Yeah.
Now that you open my eyes now, I'm like, I think it was like an office thing. It was like a was that ZocDoc? Not ZocDoc. You know what I'm talking about? That thing that goes around the different jobs and makes people do like boot camps and shit. I think this is the same thing. Like a traveling jujitsu workplace thing.
Right. It was just like in Napoleon Dynamite, like Rex Kwon Do, where like the dude just came in.
I think they get like a free T-shirt and maybe like some trunks and like just like a participation trophy.
Like I need to see everybody else also. Like okay, if Mark Zuckerberg won a medal, cool. Who are the other guys that won medals as well? And because you can't show me that like it was like Jack guy, and then like whatever division or weight class Zuckerberg was in, he won.
Yeah. No, I get that. Dude.
Yo, man.
So what's your overall view of Philly? You got the cheesesteak. Well, this is in your overall view of Philly. So first I want to know what you thought about the cheesesteak.
Listen. That cheesesteak, man. Like,
you got the chicken cheesesteak. And people don't know about the cheesesteak. Wait, no. Like, I thought you got the chicken cheesesteak.
No, I got the
Oh, you got the regular one? Okay.
I got the regular one. The only thing I didn't have was the fried onions.
And why didn't you get fried onions?
because I'm usually like a raw onions type of person, and I didn't know if that was available.
You could have told them that.
Okay.
It's customizable. It's whatever you want. But if you want, I try to tell people, the thing you want is just, like, the best way to start off is just like the sandwich with some mayonnaise, some ketchup, and plain, right?
See,
and then
now,
you move up from there.
That's a very interesting argument, because I find that to be very, very true when people tell me something is good, and then they tell me, "Oh yeah, you got to try this burger. You got to put the egg on. You got to put all." I'm like, wait, hold on.
Strip that bitch back.
Right.
It's only good when it's just like the burger or the meat and the thing, when it's just the essentials.
Right. Could I eat if there was ever a time where, oh damn, I forgot to add the ketchup, I forgot to add the mayo, and I got this cheesesteak. I got this cheesesteak, and it was just cheese and the meat. Would I be able to eat it? That's how I'm able to tell if this thing is really good. Don't tell me I have to put a million things on it for it to be good.
I gotta dress it up. I gotta take it out. I gotta treat it right. It needs to put its face on. I don't give a fuck. Fuck this. Yeah.
Yes, that's exactly how it is.
So how'd you get it?
So I got it with ketchup, mayo, and I think that was it. And the cheese.
So that's the perfect way to start off. Now, because I think they gave you, was your cheese cheese whiz, or was it white cheese?
It was white cheese.
Okay, cool. I'm allergic and I still get it. So you get, I'm allergic to peppers.
Okay.
Like they fuck my stomach up, and I still get it. You get hot peppers and sweet peppers because the flavor combination with the mayonnaise and that white cheese and the salt from the meat is great, right? And then if you get onions, when they say fried, they mean like sauteed, like it's chopped up into the meat. So it's not like long onions. It's like just diced up into the meat. So more sauteed onions.
Now, the next time I go, I'll probably do that. I'm actually very, very happy that I did it the way that I did it, because when I got it, I wasn't particularly all that hungry. So I ate. I didn't even eat half of it. I ate almost half of it, and so I was like, all right, I'll save the rest for when I go home. And by the time we drove back from Philly and got home, took a shower, I was hungry again. And my daughter is 5, and my daughter is very, very picky about like anything that she eats. So and she's the type of kid where, like, if you say, "Hey, just try it," and she's just like, "No," and so I get home, and then I'm like, oh. I didn't even warm it back up because it was still warm, so I ate the.
God damn, these guys needs people when they Hondas, or is it Lexus, or is it like upgraded cars?
That one looked like a Dodge Charger, so you might have been a Dominican kid.
Okay.
And so she's like, "Daddy, what are you eating?" And I was just like, "Oh, I'm eating. It's a cheesesteak. It's a Philly cheesesteak," and so I just thought it was just gonna be like that was the end of it. And she's like, "I want to try it," and I was like, "Okay." And even when she gets like burgers here, we'll go to McDonald's. She'll get a cheeseburger and no ketchup. No, she has to have it very, very plain. So I'm already assuming that she's not gonna like it because there's ketchup and mayo on it. And so, she bit that cheesesteak, and then she's just like, "I like it." And so I was like, "Wow, I know this is good to get my kid to eat something that she never tried before."
And it was cold. And I told you that, and I said, "Yo, it's great. It's going to be really good now, but it's better when it cools down and it's like room temperature or a little colder." Listen now.
Man. Listen,
feeling that. And you tried to be like, that's because you grew up poor, or whatever the hell you said.
Yo, listen.
Nah, I told you.
Ever since I came back, what was that? We went on Sunday.
Yeah.
I've just been thinking, man, Philly really not that far.
Like, it ain't that far.
Like, I could literally drive, like, put it this way. After I dropped you off and I had to
Mhm.
go home, I was just trying to see what was the fastest route to get from your house to my house.
Yeah.
And it said 29 minutes. I was like,
Yeah.
and we don't live far apart from each
Yeah.
other. And so I was just like, 29 minutes to get from Rose's house home? We just left another state.
Yeah.
And it was just like an hour and some change.
Yeah.
Like it was
Yeah.
crazy. So
Yeah.
now I'm just like, yeah, I could kind of just shoot to Philly real quick.
Yeah.
Like
Yup.
Philly is making me feel like it's like right there, even though
Yeah.
technically it is right there. But like before, I was like, man, it's like 3 hours to get there. It was not that
Yeah.
at all. So
And not at all.
I want to go. I want to go back to Philly.
So let me know when you go back, because I'll roll with you, and I'll take you to D'Alessandro's. There, I'll take you to all the dope cheesesteak spots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then also like, and because we were kind
go
of,
ahead.
and because we were like coming back and like we had things to do, I really wish I could have just like sat and just like shot parts of it. Like they had like really nice graffiti, like kind of like the dereliction, or kind of feel like, well, people live there. It wasn't abandoned, right?
What part? Where
Like,
we got the cheesesteaks? Or
yeah.
So where we got the cheesesteaks, yeah, people still live in that neighborhood, but not as many as you think. And not
Okay.
in the houses you think. Some people are squatting in those houses that look abandoned. Right?
Really?
And then
Like they still have like squatters.
yeah, you still got squatters in Philly.
Oh wow.
And then you also have, and then you got the houses that I pointed at where I was like, oh, these people think this area is going to turn. Like the house I looked at, they had like the rainbow flag in the window,
Yeah.
Black Lives Matter, and I'm like, oh, they
Yeah.
think this neighborhood going to turn. They'll
And that
get
was-
out of here.
And that was the interesting thing about Philly, which I don't find it to be the same in New York, because in New York I find that they're still in bad places, but it seems very, very segregated. I felt like we got from good part to bad part relatively quickly, even
Yeah.
like from one block to one block.
Yeah.
So it doesn't seem nearly as segregated.
And the crazy thing is, when you get to the hood, you still see the same skin color. You still see poor whites in that area. Like, you remember the fucking black? I mean, I said like the homeless dude that was trying to give us the brick. Like he was like, oh, you don't want this brick?
The brick,
Oh, I
yeah.
give you the brick. This the
Like-
brick. Oh, you sure you don't want the brick? And we're like trying to be nice. Like, get the fuck out of here with this goddamn
And that-
brick.
And that was like, to me, that was.
You see
it was such a-
Mexican. You see
It was such a
Asian.
genuine,
Yeah.
yeah. It was such
Mm-hmm.
a genuine moment with that guy, because literally there was a brick in the middle of the street, in the middle of the sidewalk,
Yeah.
and this nice man actually moves the brick out of the way, so I guess so nobody else would trip over it.
Yeah.
And then the interesting thing is all of us who were there, we saw it.
Yeah.
Me, you, and Darryl, we saw the brick and we just left the brick. Like,
Yeah.
all right, this brick's gonna stay there. This junkie, drug addict said, "I'm gonna move this brick out of the way so nobody else trips on it," which is more of a reflection of us. We just let the brick stay there, and then because we knew the brick was there because we asked, "Yo, where did the brick go?"
We said, where did brick go?
And
We're
so which means-
assholes. But I asked where the brick go because I didn't, like, sometimes you still got to be aware. Like, I'm like, all right, somebody could have picked the brick up and, like, they'll probably use it to break a car window and stuff
Right.
like that.
But
But
this nice man was just like, "Oh, hey, I moved the brick. Y'all want the brick back?" and we're like, "Get the fuck out of here! Why would I want a brick?" So in theory, Philly really is the city of brotherly love, because that was
yeah.
I didn't.
But
that was
but you were with two dudes from Philly. who just was like, we didn't give a fuck about that brick. We didn't care. We didn't care about anybody tripping.
Right.
And then I don't know. I think you get both.
Well, but the thing is, we didn't really interact with a lot of people, but people did genuinely seem nice.
Yeah, and there's the Philly temperament. People are nice until you give them a reason not to be. They're not gonna say hi for no reason. Like no one greeted you just to greet you.
Yes.
Like even those chicks that said hi only said hi because my nephew was flirting with them.
Right. But you see, that's a very interesting thing where I think that places like Philly, places like New York get a bad rap because me being born and raised in New York, yes, we don't say good morning or not hospitable in that way. But one thing I do know
around my neighborhood, they say hi early and they be
Really?
walking fast and hi, like hey.
interesting.
Yeah.
But I find that there goes another one. I find that if you are in need of help in New York, somebody will help you. If you're on the subway, you need directions, or
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. New York is nosy as shit.
Right, or if somebody like falls, people will rush to that person's aid, and so I think that we get this kind of like this misrepresentation of we're just like cold hard. No, we don't have time for the pleasantries. But if you need something, we got you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, I agree with that.
So
Philly, I think
is that Philly's that same vein?
See now, yes, I feel like Philly's the same vein. It's just shorter temper.
Okay.
Like New Yorkers will ignore you until they don't have to. I think people from Philly got time immediately. Like if you say something and you push a button, it's confrontation right away.
Okay.
Just to check it, just to be like, hey, what is this? Where are we going with this? All right, shut the fuck up then. Let's keep it moving. And New York is like back and forth, like, shut up, you shut up, fuck you, fuck you. Then it gets progressive.
Yeah, it reaches a boiling point. So Philly, it gets from 0 to 100, but then doesn't dial itself back down. Like, how do you get back to 0? How do you de-escalate back to 0? Or is it like
usually the cops?
Okay.
Or the scuffle.
Okay.
So I think I saw like a couple of videos online, right, where they would show like hood shit happening, and they'd be like, "Is it Philly, Chicago, or New York?" And it was always Philly. If somebody's shooting at the cops, it was Philly. Someone fucking like 3 moms in the street having a fight, Philly. Like it was always those things. So Philly, it was pretty tame that Sunday I took you. The streets were busy, but it was only busy with like junkies. It wasn't busy with like the neighborhood traffic.
Yeah. Also, I got to see a very small glimpse of like the biker boys, like.
Oh yeah, the 12 o'clock boys, man. These motherfuckers will ride forever. We seen them in Center City, and then we also seen them when we started leaving, and I think we gotta leave going south. I mean going north. And you seen them all the way up there too. Like they do wheelies that long, yo. Like it's not just like a couple of blocks.
My thing is, and I've always wondered about this with like that bike culture. Why don't you go off road with it?
I don't know, man. I used to think the same thing too. My nephew had a dirt bike, and he doesn't ride it anymore because like my sister don't want him to get chased by cops and shit. But I'm like, well, it's a dirt bike. Go ride it in the dirt. Go to the woods or whatever. Go to a dirt bike track. And she's like, he don't want to do it. And I'm like, why? Because it's corny. Like they think riding in the street and popping wheelies and dodging traffic is cooler than fucking hitting the sand dune and doing the flip.
Do you think that we'll ever have like in like X Games somebody who comes from that background, who was like a 12 o'clock boy, and like he's gonna enter in like the realm of like professional BMX or like that kind of ESPN, and because he has this background in doing it in the street, that's gonna make him much more skilled.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's where it's heading.
Okay.
I think they will just have to. They would have to learn more tricks besides a wheelie, or they would. You know what I mean? Like, oh, you made it ride for 4.5 blocks. Okay. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But because these dudes are doing backflips, these dudes are going up that ramp and doing 3 backflips in a row, and landing it. So I think eventually they'll get to that. But also, you got to go so far to go to a dirt bike course, right? I don't know if there are any dirt bike courses in Philly, so you probably have to go to the outskirts of PA. Now, if you got a dirt bike, in order to even get to that part of PA, you probably gonna have to drive. Now, if you don't have the proper setup to transport your bike, how you gonna get there? So I think it's more of a proximity thing.
What was the thing we talked about? Access. Access to certain things is so key. Where that may not even seem attainable to even make it out there. So for that, I'm gonna be riding in these streets,
popping these wheelies in these streets, fucking running in the cars and shit. But here's the thing: the amount of money that goes into buying bikes, fixing the bikes up, paying bail and bond, because kids get locked up all the time, paying for hospital bills, maybe paying for insurance when they fuck up other people's shit. All that money that goes into that shit, they can put a team together and drive people out to a course.
Or
you get what I'm saying?
No, I get exactly what you're saying. Or even like how, like, okay, you see how X Games operates in the space that it does, but kind of like how, like, the NBA has the NBA, but then Ice Cube started like the Big Three, which it's still basketball, but it's not the same. So if they did like the
wheelie off.
Right, a wheelie off or like a street course.
Tricks. Yeah.
And you know, and I think people would come see that. Or
hell yeah. I think that's where it's heading.
Okay.
I think it's getting enough publicity now. Like when I was younger, I don't remember all those kids out in the street wheeling like that. It looked like a parade, dog.
Yeah, man.
And it was organized too. They had the people in the back with the dirt bikes kind of as the brigade to make sure those kids are safe, and then they had the people in the beginning. There are people who teach kids how to wheelie. Like, you come with a bike, that's like programs, like wheelie programs. So I think that's where it's heading. But then it has to be space for it. It has to be like a lot of some shit.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
or do they just do it like how you do like a half marathon? It's like we gonna block off this street and this street.
For
who can wheelie the longest?
For like a 5-borough bike tour, but like you just wheelie throughout. Yeah,
I'll watch that shit.
I would too.
Yeah,
I would too.
Yo, would you mind sticking around for the Patreon?
Oh yeah, sure. I'm here.
Yo. So thank you, man. Thank you for doing the podcast. Tell people where they can see all your work.
Instagram is the easiest way to find me. It's at PBS, like the channel, PBS the photographer on Instagram.
All right.